tuning in to the Business Computing Show. I'm your host, Nancy Ford, the president of the Memphis chapter of BDPA. Our guest this evening is April Jackson, and she's a desktop support specialist. And we're going to talk tonight about easy ways that you can fix your own computer, just common troubleshooting and fixes that you can do yourself. Thank you for coming, April. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So tell me, what does a desktop support specialist do?
Typically, a desktop support specialist is the person that either installs new computers or new software or fixes the computers that are broken. We also install printers, scanners, things of that nature to help the people in the companies be able to run and use technology more.
Oh, that's very interesting. How long have you been doing that?
I have been doing this. I've been in the industry for about 13 years.
Oh, how did you get started in the computer industry?
Well, I actually went to school for programming, and I actually had a programming job right out of college. Due to budget cutbacks and whatnot, my position got eliminated. But during that time, I recognized that, as a programmer, really all programmers understand is turning the computer on, getting to their software, and running their programs and creating them. But I knew nothing about how to actually fix the computer, upgrade my memory or whatnot. But I was very interested in that, but also very scared of actually messing with the inside of the computer. But at any rate, when my position got eliminated, I was also afforded the opportunity to get into a help desk position, which is kind of the entry level where you learn a whole lot about troubleshooting over the phone versus face-to-face type support. So in that, I was able to get some training and some experience in actually building computers, setting them up, and troubleshooting them both over the phone and in person, and my career took off from there.
Well, that's interesting, and one reason is because people tend to think that if you are in the computer industry at all, that you know everything. And they think programmers can fix computers, and they think people who fix computers can write programs. Mm-hmm. And you're just telling us now that that is not the case at all.
No, pretty similar to someone on the ambulance can't perform surgery.
That's a great analogy. So I'm going to ask you some questions tonight about some things that may be kind of common, mm-hmm. that people may be able to fix for themselves as opposed to running out, taking their computer to the shop, or calling their computer tech friend. If you know what I mean by that.
I know what you mean.
Well, the first thing is I go to turn my computer on and it does nothing. Mm-hmm. I push the power button, it does nothing, it's just completely dead.
Okay.
What should I check?
Well, the very first thing you should check is all of your connections. The first thing should be the power cable in the back of the computer, because that's what's going to allow your computer to turn on and turn off. So you want to make sure that the cable is connected in the back of the computer and in the power socket. Now, another thing you want to check is if it's plugged into rather a surge suppressor or protector. One of its jobs is to protect the computer from any power spikes, and unknowingly we get power spikes on a constant basis. But if it does not turn on and it's plugged into this power protector, then it may have taken the hit that your computer was supposed to. So it did its job to protect your computer. One way you can test that is unplug it from the the surge suppressor and plug it directly into the wall. Works that way, then you need a new surge protector.
So how important is it to have a surge protector?
It is very important. Like I said, you can have brownouts as well as blackouts, and those are variances in power in your electrical lines that could very well cause damage to your computer.
So what is a brownout and what is a blackout?
A blackout is when the power totally goes out, but it's such a difference, of course, between on and off that it could cause damage to your computer. A brownout is just either a small spike or a small loss in power, which the power supply is expecting a constant supply of power to be able to power your computer and run efficiently. But any changes, even minute changes in that power, could cause damage to your computer.
And if I don't have the surge protector and say I have a really big power spike, mm-hmm. what is the danger to my computer?
It could actually cause damage to the inner workings and inner boards of your computer and cause it not to turn on. And that would be another thing if you plugged in the power directly to the outlet and you still got power, still didn't get power rather to the computer, then you may have some computer damage internally.
Okay. Well, that's basic, kind of like, you know, the washing machine thing. The first thing they ask you is it plugged in?
Right.
Now, suppose it turns on, but I don't see anything on the monitor. There's nothing on my screen.
That would be the next thing to check. The monitor's plug as well. Make sure it's plugged into the back of the monitor and plugged into the surge protector or the outlet. And you want to do the same thing with the surge protector as far as the monitor is concerned. Take it out, plug it into the wall. See if you get, and you press the button, usually you'll get either a green light or an amber light to see if the monitor is getting some kind of power. And if it's not getting power, then you may have a problem directly with the monitor.
Okay. Now, the computer comes on, and it starts to boot up, and you know you have this black screen with all of the white writing on it.
Right.
And I get this message that says disk error, a non-system disk. What does that mean, and how do I fix it?
Well, sometimes that could be just as simple as if you were saving a file previously when you shut your computer down, you could have left the floppy disk in the floppy drive. So that would be the first thing to check. Check to see if there's a floppy in the disk drive and eject it if there is. And if that's the problem, you can turn the computer off and turn it back on again, and normally it will boot into Windows. Okay,
now I've heard that it's kind of dangerous to leave a floppy disk in there anyway because of the viruses or something like that. How is that possible? How is it possible for me to get a virus just from leaving a floppy disk in the drive?
Well, not so much leaving the floppy disk in the drive, but as you're working on the computer, it could be that you have gotten infected with a virus, and that virus could be transferred to the floppy disk while it's in there when the computer's on. So when you go to turn it off and you turn it back on and it tries to boot from that floppy, the floppy has a virus and could corrupt everything that's on your system.
Oh, okay. Is there any other reason why I may get a non-system disk error?
Well, if you've checked the floppy disk and you've taken it out, if there was one in there, and you reboot and you get the same message, you could have a problem with your computer's hard drive.
Okay, and is there, if the hard drive is bad, is there any way that I can get my information off of it?
Well, if you are comfortable enough with working with the inside of the computer, you could actually take that hard drive out and put it into a working computer as a secondary drive. That way you'd be able to read the information that's on there and be able to save it either to the primary hard drive or a CD if you want to back up your information. Sometimes, however, that isn't the case, and it's what's called a catastrophic loss, and you'll have to replace that hard drive, and all the information on there will be lost.
Now, you said what I think are two of the most important words that have to do with owning a computer, and the two words that most of us don't use, even people who are in technology don't use it. What are those two words? Backup.
Yes, you always want to keep a backup of any information that you store on that computer because it is an electronic object, and electronics, as we know, do have a tendency to fail. We don't want them to fail very often, but when they do, we want to be able to know that our information is safe.
So what are some ways that we can back our information up?
Well, one way is not only to save it on your hard drive, but to save it on some type of external media. It could be a disk. You could have a USB thumb drive. If you have a CD burner, you can burn your files to CD, but be able to keep it somewhere safe just in case the computer crashes, or if you want to be able to take those files to another computer and access them, you have a copy.
Okay. And what about online storage?
There are actually some websites online that you can store data and be able to access it from any computer that has an internet connection.
So that's another advantage as well, to be able, because now I don't have to carry a disk around. If I can get to the internet, I can get to my data.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So now we're talking about error messages. And now I do have a friend who's a computer technician, right?
Okay.
So I call my computer tech friend and I go, I got this error message. And they say, what is it? Well, it was something about.
That's actually one of the worst things you can to your computer friend, because typically in the computer industry, people who are familiar with the computer industry have seen these type of error messages before, and they can sometimes think off the top of their head what you can do to fix it. But the key is we need to know what the error message is. If you see it on the screen, write it down, put it somewhere where you can get to it when you call your computer friend. It's also helpful to know what it was you were doing when the error message popped up, if you were in a particular program, or if you had installed some new software or hardware, a new printer, a new scanner, or Microsoft Office, or if you did an upgrade, things of that nature. It helps to know what you were doing at the time the error message occurred, so we can try to help you figure out what we can do to fix it.
Okay. Now, let's look at some other things that happen commonly. My mouse doesn't work. I keep moving it around and my cursor isn't moving on the screen. What could the problem possibly be?
Well, the first thing you want to check is the obvious. Make sure the mouse is connected to the back of the computer.
Okay.
Because of course if it's disconnected, it's not going to work. But in the case that it is connected, you want to make sure that the mouse has a smooth rolling surface. And if you look underneath the mouse, and you can turn it over to look on the underside of it, sometimes the mouse has a little ball underneath, and if so, it's got a little circle around it, and that's a plate you can actually remove to clean the inside of the mouse. And if you look inside, sometimes you'll see a little junk on the rollers, and you can get a tweezer or use your fingernail to clean that junk off, and you'll find that if you do that and put it back together again, the mouse will start rolling smoothly again.
Hey, what about the optical mouse?
Now, the optical mouse needs a smooth, light-colored surface to be able to read the optical information to know where to move and position the cursor. If you've got a mouse pad that's got different colors or different variations of colors, sometimes that pointer will reset, or it looks like it's in, and it'll jump around the screen, or sometimes it won't move at all. So you want to get a solid colored, smooth surface mouse pad to be able to put the optical mouse on for it to move effectively.
These solutions are so simple. I mean, I guess it's easy when you know. What about my keyboard? Suppose my keyboard doesn't work. I'm punching the keys and nothing's happening.
Well, same thing applies with the keyboard. You want to check the keyboard connection and make sure that it's plugged into the back of the computer. And if that's the case, it could be that the computer's locked up.
Okay, what do you mean locked up?
Sometimes that the computer may be doing something and it may just stop and it won't respond to any input that you give it, the mouse or the keyboard. Sometimes it may be that you've run out of memory, you've run out of hard drive space. At any rate, you can't complete your work and it's not going to respond to anything that you do.
So what do I do?
Well, the quickest thing to do is to reboot your computer. And
okay, how am I going to reboot the computer when it's not responding to anything? I can't move the mouse. It won't let me do anything on the keyboard. How am I going to reboot it?
Well, you're going to turn it off. And to do that, you're going to hit the power button to take the power away and shut it down.
But I hit the power button and it doesn't do anything.
And sometimes when it is locked up like that, it may take a little more time for the computer to recognize that you're trying to turn it off. So what you want to do is press the power button and hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of a safeguard so that if I hit the power button accidentally,
it won't turn off.
It won't turn off. Oh, so that,
so it's kind of telling you that, or you're kind of telling it that, yes, you really mean to turn off the computer.
I really want you to turn off.
Right.
And then once I turn it off,
give it a few seconds and then turn it back on.
Now, there have been times the computer shut off and maybe I did it on purpose or whatever, and then it comes back up. And when the black screen shows, it's got all of these little lines saying safe mode or normal mode. So what's all of that about?
That's kind of a protective mechanism for Windows because it recognizes that it turned off unexpectedly. And it's giving you an opportunity to come up in since it's called safe mode, a safe environment, so that if there were any problems beforehand, you can actually clear them up and restart the computer to come back up in Windows normally.
Okay, man, I'm learning a lot. So we're going to talk a little more right after these messages.
Okay.
Hey, Hey, satellite customers, you may be able to pay less with Comcast and get a lot more. Compare your current satellite TV service to Comcast digital cable with HBO or Stars at a price that's hard to beat, as low as $29.99 for 3 months. Switch today and get digital cable with On Demand, plus your choice of HBO or Stars, all with no contracts and no ugly dish. Save even more when you add high-speed internet and phone service. Don't miss one of our best deals. Call 259-1405.
How's it going, Frank?
How's it going, Frank?
Everything's good, everything's groovy, it's a great day.
DSL got your employees on edge? Give them Comcast Business Class Internet, already way faster than DSL, and now with Power Boost for download speeds up to 12 megs, right when you need it most.
Hey, AT&T Internet customers, you may be able to pay less with Comcast and get a lot more. Compare your current Internet service to Comcast high-speed Internet with Power Boost, now at a price that's going fast. Only $19 a month for 6 months. Switch today and get download speeds up to 4 times faster than DSL and broadband features, including free McAfee security. Save even more when you add digital cable or phone service. Don't miss one of our best deals. Call 259-1405.
How's it going, Frank?
How's it going, Frank?
Everything's good, everything's groovy, it's a great day.
Need a more productive office? You need Comcast Business Class, known for faster than DSL Internet, now offering digital voice with unlimited flat rate calling and business features your employees will appreciate.
Welcome back to the Business Computing Show. Our guest this evening is April Jackson, and we're talking about ways that you can fix your own computer at home. Thank you so much here again. I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And we just finished talking a little bit about safe mode. Now, tell me about Windows updates. Sometimes I see this little balloon in the right corner of my computer says that updates are ready for my computer. Tell me about that.
Now, updates are actually a good thing. As Microsoft uncovers any errors, any security vulnerabilities that may be present in Windows, they will release updates to try and fix those patches and make your computing environment a safe one. So you want to actually run the Windows updates as they show up on your computer.
Okay. Now, we talked, you said something a little earlier about running out of memory. What kind of memory are we talking about here, and how can I fix it? Because sometimes a little error message will come up saying that virtual memory is running low. So what do I do in a case like that?
In a case like that, the easiest thing to do would be to reboot your computer. And what that was actually clear out the memory. Think of it, I guess an analogy would be putting stuff in a room. Now, as things come in the room, you find places for them, and you know they're in that room, so it'll be easier to access them. In the case of the computer, if you put things in memory on the computer, opening a program or opening a file, it's easier for the computer to access it if it's in memory. Now, if the memory gets full, you've got several programs open or several files running, music playing in the background, this room is going to get pretty full. So once that room gets full, something will go out of the back door so something else can come in the front door. But it's going to take longer to get something out that back door and something else in the front door. So when you're running these programs and it's looking for things in that room, it's saying, hey, the room is full, I need you to empty it out. So rebooting the computer completely empties out the room, so you have a nice empty room to be able to store programs in the next time you turn your computer on.
Okay. And one thing I want to talk about, I want to talk a little bit about the internet.
Okay.
My home page changed. I didn't change it. I just opened it up and it was different. How do I get my home page back?
Well, several programs and different websites online will give you the opportunity, and they want you to set your home page to their page. So it's kind of a marketing ploy that if you see their page come up, you'll more likely click on something of interest and you may purchase something from them or whatnot. But if you want to see your nice web page, there are some menu options you can choose. At the top, usually you'll see File, Edit, View. What you want to click on is Tools. And from Tools, you'll get a drop-down menu, and the last one on there is Internet Options. So you'll want to click on Internet Options, and you'll be presented with another window. And the easiest way to know where you need to be is there's a box with a website address. That is the address page that comes up when you open up Internet Explorer or your favorite browser. But the easiest way to do it is to set your website or set a website that you would like to be your home page, have it already up, and then click on Tools and Internet Options. And right underneath that web address, there are 3 buttons: Use Current, Use Default, and Use Blank. Use Current, if you click on that button, it will change your home page to whatever's already on the screen. And if that's what you want, that's the button you want to click, Use Current.
Okay.
Use Default will set it to whatever your home page originally was, which could be that page you didn't want. So we want to leave that one alone.
Okay.
And then Use Blank, when you bring up Internet Explorer from a blank page, it's a blank page. You don't have any website, and it gives you the opportunity to type in whatever site you want to go to.
Okay. Now, you said you were talking about clicking on things. Mm-hmm. How dangerous is it to just all of these little pop-up windows is it dangerous?
It is very dangerous. Some of them are harmless. If you recognize the company and it's showing you an advertisement for something you're interested in, and you want to be sure it's a well-known company, then you can feel relatively safe doing that. But all of the ones that pop up spontaneously, a good number of them have viruses that can infect your computer. And a lot of them are in the guise of scanning your computer for viruses. So you think you're doing a good thing, and you're actually putting the virus on your computer. So you don't want to click on those at all. You want to close those windows as soon as they appear.
Okay, and well, now suppose in the middle of the window it says click here to close. Is that where I should close it?
No, you should close it in the top right corner where the little X is.
Okay. All right, that's very informative, because that's a way to keep down on not just viruses but spyware as well, right? Now, I do my banking online. Okay. Right? So I went out there to sign up. Mm-hmm. They made me create a password. Okay. They said I needed a strong password. Mm-hmm. So I went and took my password and tried to buy some barbells for it. Didn't work. Oh. What is a strong password?
A strong password, and a good strong password, is one that is easily remembered by you, but very difficult for anyone else to guess. And it usually consists of 7 to 16 characters. Of those characters, at least one needs to be uppercase, at least one needs to be lowercase, at least one needs to be a number, and somewhere in there you may want to throw in a symbol, like a pound sign or an @ sign or whatnot. Because, and in the sense of strong passwords, on the opposite end of that, easy passwords would be like, for example, Nancy. You don't want to set your password to Nancy, because that's easy to be guessed. If somebody had your information, that's one of the first to try, Nancy. And if that's your password, they've got all your banking information.
Okay, well, okay, so now I figured out my strong password. Mm-hmm. So I can use it for every site I go to, right?
That would not be a good idea. Because if someone discovered your strong password for your banking information, they could also get it, use it, the same one, to log into your email, to log into your work account, to log into any other banking accounts, credit cards. If you've got it set to everything that you do online, they've got access to all of your information.
Okay, so really I should have several strong passwords.
Correct.
And maybe I might want to keep them in maybe a password-protected Excel spreadsheet or something.
You don't want to store it anywhere on your computer.
Nowhere on my computer?
Nowhere on your computer.
Okay, so where would I want to store them so that I can remember them?
In your mind.
In my mind. All righty. So some ways that I can protect myself online, aside from having these strong passwords, mm-hmm. and keep from becoming a victim of identity theft.
Well, I was reading an article, actually just yesterday, about identity theft online, and how people can tend to get information that you give readily to be able to access your accounts and log in as you. One way is by blogging. Blogging has become quite popular these days, and blogging is simply just telling about yourself, telling the whole internet world, this is who I am. Well, if you think about when you set up your online banking account, you were asked a series of security questions so that you
Okay.
you can identify that you are you to the banking company should you forget your password. Well, if you've answered questions like, what was my mom's maiden name, or what's my pet dog's name, and you've gone out and put your whole family tree with your mom's maiden name, or you put a blog and said, I walked my little dog Poochie this morning, and they have that information.
So we have to be very careful, right?
Very careful. And if you're going to, I would say don't post a whole lot of personal information that can easily be guessed. But in the case that you want to reveal that you walked Poochie down the street one day, you usually have at the banking institution several questions that you can pick from as your security question. Don't pick the one that says, what's your dog's name?
Okay, now, very quickly, because we're about to run out of time, but very quickly, what would be some examples of personal information that people might not think is personal information?
Some questions like, what is your paternal grandfather's middle name? That's not a very common, question, and that's something that no one really outside of your family would know, because people don't typically share their middle name.
Okay.
Less, I guess, secure, but more obscure information. What was your elementary school, or what was your first car or your first job? Things of that nature that aren't easily given away online on a blog.
Okay. Well, I think we've had a lot of great information, and we could go on and on, I know, but time doesn't permit. And I just want to thank you so much for being my guest this evening and for sharing this vast amount of information that you have and doing it so eloquently. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the Business Computing Show, and I certainly do hope that you've learned something this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
What do you get when you sign up for Comcast Digital Voice? Unlimited local and long distance, and a whole lot more. Enjoy 12 popular calling features, plus voicemail, all at no extra charge. Even keep your current phone number. Plus, add Comcast high-speed internet with Power Boost and save even more. Call now and add both services for just $49.90 per month for 6 months with your Comcast digital cable service. Call 1-800-COMCAST today.
Some high-speed internet services say they're fast, but only one really backs it up. Comcast high-speed internet. It's way faster than DSL. And Comcast now with Power Boost makes fast even faster with download speeds of up to 12 megs. And for a limited time, you can get it for just $19.95 a month for 6 months. This deal is going fast, so call 259-1400 and get Comcast high-speed internet for as low as $19.95 a month for 6 months.